So today we're going to talk about how to double your productivity, how to double your quality of life, just how to double your existence. If you don't know who I am, I'm Jarvis. That's it, Sergio. You're right. It's a beautiful day. Let's get beautiful right now. Uh, so before we dive in too deep, this is, because it's a webinar. Normally I like doing these events live, but because it's webinar, I don't get the interaction. So it's really hard to gauge, where you at, what you need. So the best way to do that is through the chat. So I'm going to be asking you guys to do a lot of interacting via the chat, and that's the best way I can get feedback and know that if you need to go deeper on the topic, or if you missed a point, or if I'm going too fast, because there's a lot of information I'm going to be trying to cover, and so I'll kind of skip through some stuff and go pretty quickly. So the chat is the best way for me to get your feedback. So um, give me a thumbs up in the chat if you down with getting interactive. That's the only way I'll know how to best serve you and make this the best use of your time. So with that being said, let's test out the chat right now. What's the biggest thing you're struggling with? Today we're talking about how to hit your goals, how to be more productive. The whole point of being productive is to get more done. Um, what's the biggest thing right now that holds you back? Where do you get derailed? What's kind of the biggest obstacle you face when it comes to hitting your goals? What's the biggest thing that's holding you back right now? Let's get a few people in the chat. Okay, but trying to balance it all. You got parenting, you got you got work priorities. You also got to squeeze in yourself. You got to squeeze in some time to get fit and do your fitness. How do you make time for it all? So what I read from your comment is having enough time to balance it all out. I could see that for sure. Getting up early, that's a big one. Um, that's kind of one of the ways to get more time is to just get up earlier so you have more time, right? But that is a lot easier said than done. So we're going to talk a lot about that today. Baby, yeah, that one. Sorry, I can't help you with that. I've got a 9-month old. You probably will hear him in the background. If you can't tell, I'm actually in the baby's room, which also doubles as the office during quarantine. So welcome to quarantine life. Um, but I think a lot of the things we're going to talk about today will help you kind of with that overall balance and being able to do a couple of key habits and put some structures in place that's going to actually free up a lot more of your time to be able to invest that time back into your family, to spend more time with your baby, and things like that. And actually, I have a pretty cool testimonial for you uh, at the very end of someone that's in the exact same position. Being able to leverage yourself and hire part-time assistants. Part of that, being able to, there's two ways you can approach that. One is just get other people to try to offload some of your stuff to, or another way you could do that is to be more efficient with your time so that you actually can still do and juggle all the responsibilities that you need to. So we're going to talk a lot about some of these things. Basically, a lot of what I see is time management, and that's a big part of productivity. Time is two aspects to it: is time management and energy management. So today I'm going to talk a lot about how to help get you your time back. um, you know these are some of the common things that I hear people say. Not enough time, which is what we just said. Too much on your plate. You got family, you got friends, you got work, you got a new baby. Too much on the plate, and sometimes it's hard to focus through it all because everything's coming at you at the same time. um, the one where I talked about energy management, spending too much time on little things. And that goes from having so much on your plate, oftentimes we get unfocused and derailed and focusing on the small stuff instead of actually being the more impactful stuff. I'll call them the high impact activities, the things that really make the difference. Oftentimes you'll see people aren't spending enough time on those things, and they're busy with all the minutia and the monotony. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. And then also the one that I hear the most is not being consistent. People will have flashes of greatness. They'll have days that they wake up early. They'll have days that go great, that they're on top of it, that they hit their goals and hit all their workout and hit all their prospecting calls. But can they do that, you know, 5, 10 days in a row? Can they do that months in a row? Being consistent. Anybody can have flashes of greatness, but where a lot of people break down is being consistent. And so these are some of the biggest struggles that I see. Now, I've been doing this, call it success coaching and productivity coaching for the last 4 years. And so every time I talk with people and I do workshops, I always ask this question. And these are the four biggest uh, hiccups that come up. So today I want to address a lot of this. And I'm going to show you how you can overcome some of these obstacles. Oh, and the last one is lack of motivation. You know, the whole getting up early thing is sometimes you just don't want to get out of bed. Anybody have those days where you just get up and gosh, you just don't want to get out of bed? It's it's like a perpetual case of the Mondays. Seems like every day. So you say many days are like that. Just don't want to get out of bed. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Um, so as I mentioned before, call myself a productivity engineer, and I want to spend a few minutes explaining to you what exactly that is, why I call myself a productivity engineer, and I think that'll lay a lot of context for kind of what we talk about for the remainder of this session. So a little bit about my background. I went to University of Illinois. I'm from Chicago. Any Midwesterners out there? Let's do a quick shout out. Where are you guys from? Where's everyone from? Is everyone from West Coast? Anyone from the Midwest? Or okay, Philly, East Coast. Let's see. And rarely see if I have anyone from Chicago on these trainings, but I'm from Chicago, and I went to the University of Illinois, which is about 2 hours south of Chicago. It's actually the #1 rated school at the time when I went. So I'm dating myself, but I went to college about 20 years ago, and so at the time they were #2 in computer engineering, and so I went to school for computer engineering. Was really good at it. Came out and worked for Motorola and Texas Instruments, and some Fortune 100 large tech companies as a computer engineer. And then I was really good at engineering. I had this kind of engineering mindset where I was really good at picking problems apart and finding efficient ways to solve them. So engineering, all it is problem solving. You're trying to get to an end destination, and you have to find an efficient way to get there. To engineer yourself to get to that end destination. And I was really good at that, being able to find shortcuts and pick problems apart to get to a destination faster. And so I loved that mindset and that work, but I didn't like being stuck in a computer lab for 10 to 12 hours a day. That just wasn't my vibe. If you know me, I'm very personable, and I have this, energy and this business savvy. So I decided to go into sales. And so I transferred over into sales, and I went into software sales. And what I found was that engineering mindset worked really well in sales too. Essentially, all I was doing was using the same concept of just trying to get to an end destination, but doing it in the business world. So my end destination was I was trying to get a client or trying to engineer the sales process. And I was able to kind of hack the process to get to it faster. So my success transferred over pretty well in sales as well. So I went working for several software startups and quickly became the #1 within the first year. Was the #1 sales rep. And this is kind of a photo of me being recognized by the CEO in front of 500 sales reps at our sales conference. This part of my life, everything was kind of on cruise control. I was rocking and rolling and flowing. Which I had a beautiful girl. We were living together. We had this high-rise penthouse over in Little Italy, which is kind of the fancy part of San Diego, overlooking the water. We were throwing these dinner parties, and we were kind of like the it couple. Like everything was just flowing and going, and my life kind of just went on cruise control. You know, I started kind of plateauing out. I stopped growing. You know, on the surface, everything was great, but underneath, I was just kind of there, just going through the motions. Like my life wasn't really painful, but it wasn't terribly exciting. I kind of just was in this middle area where I was just existing. I don't know if you guys have ever been there before, where you just kind of like every day is the same. You're just kind of going through the motions. And so for me, what that materialized into is just me going out and hanging out with friends on the weekends and partying and, drinking too much. And it kind of materialized into these bad habits. And so during the week, I would kind of burn myself out and, waking up and go, go, go and trying to, perform and trying to put on this facade. And on the weekends, I would go out and drink heavy with my friends, going out, eating all the time. And I just had these real bad habits that ended up started to uh, kind of spiral out of control. And what I found was that I was just kind of stuck in this rut, just stuck in this cycle, you know, bouncing from vice to vice, trying to find momentary happiness and fulfillment, all to mask the fact that I had stopped growing as a person. I had stopped hitting my goals. I had stopped making progress. 5 years had passed and I was the exact same person. And that was kind of this wake up moment for me where I was stuck in the same exact place. And that eventually led to me underperforming and kind of, my life kind of going off the rails. I stopped, being a high performer at work. I was no longer motivated. I was no longer waking up early and going into the office. I was waking up at 9, 10 o'clock in the late morning. Didn't want to get out of bed. That started to affect my work performance, and I went from the very first top sales rep all the way down to the very last sales rep. I wasn't performing in my relationship. I was drinking too much and going out and hanging out with friends, and I'd lost focus of my girlfriend. We weren't the it couple anymore, and I wasn't prioritizing her. My health faded fast. I went, and from physically fit. I've always been this real fit guy. I went from that, ballooned up and gained 30 pounds, and I was in the worst shape of my life. All these areas of my life were really just in shambles, and uh, came to a head one day when I walked into my boss's office, and after me putting up my worst sales numbers at performance since I started working at that company, and he let me go. A week later, my girlfriend got fed up with me not being the person that she originally that she originally joined with, and she decided that it was best that we split up. And within a short period of time, I went from on top of the world. I call it the penthouse. This is an actual picture of the place that we were living in. I went from the penthouse, and I had to move back to my mom's couch. I had to move back home to Chicago. And um, this was the low point of my life. You know, as a 36-year-old man and going from having it all to having to move back in with his mother is a pretty demoralizing experience. And so this is an actual picture of me on my mom's couch that she took of me. At this point, I was no job, no money in the bank, no girlfriend. I was severe, hefty and chunky. No goal, no vision, no dream. I was just kind of there. In this moment, this was my kind of my come to Jesus moment where I knew I had to pick up the pieces and do something. I had to do something different. Uh, you know, One of my all-time favorite life philosophers, Jim Rohn, says that if you want something different, you have to do something different. So for me, this was my do something different moment. And so I went on this extreme growth journey. I decided I'm going to re-engineer my success. So I started, with this one question: what do all the great people do? All the people that have it figured out, the people that are extreme achievers, the overachievers, the people that have done great, amassed such great success. What did they do to get there? What are the habits, the tricks, the secrets? What do they know that we don't? What are they doing consistently? So I read just about every book I could on high achievers, all from Jeff Bezos to Elon Musk and Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, uh, Warren Buffett, Tony Robbins. I read all their biographies and tried to put the pieces together of what's the formula. What is it that they're doing that allows them to be high performers? And on this journey, I spent about over 2,000 hours between reading, taking courses, going to seminars, all in this extreme growth journey of trying to engineer my success. And here's one of the biggest things I learned. There's one fatal flaw that most people make, and especially achievers, people that consider themselves to be achievers or goal-oriented or success-driven. There's one flaw that they all typically make, and it's this right here. They wake up and dive right into their first obligation of the day. Give me a yes in the comments if this sounds familiar, but this was me. This was me, and now this kind of started to make sense of where I kind of went wrong is, I would snooze all the way up until the point that I had to get up, all the way up until I had to rush out and go to work, or all the way up until I had to deal with, a family, or all the way up until I had to run to a meeting. I would wake up and dive right into work, right into my emails, right into social media, right into my phone. And what I learned from reading about all these high achievers was this thing right here. My biggest aha moment was that all ultra high producers, millionaires, billionaires, and highly successful people wake up early, and they have a very structured morning process that they do before they start dealing with the rest of the world. They wake up early and tend to themselves first before they deal with anything else. This was my fatal flaw. This is where I went wrong. Yeah, I was an achiever, and you think in this achiever's mindset, you just want to go, go, go. But it was the exact opposite. They slow down first with the structured process. And so after learning that, I started putting this process into place for myself. And within 3 months, my life was back on track. I got my real estate license, and I had picked up 5 listings for commercial office, retail, and restaurant spaces in downtown San Diego. To put that in perspective, when I signed up at my brokerage, my senior broker said, "Listen, Jarvis, don't get your hopes up. This is a long game. It took me 18 months before I got my first deal. Don't expect to make any money. You're going to come in this and you're going to grind, for your first year and a half before you start getting clients, before you start making any real traction." And within my first 3 months, I have 5 listings of office and retail properties in a highly competitive market in downtown. Not only did my business and my income basically double in that time frame, my personal life skyrocketed too. I went from the heaviest I'd ever been in my life to losing 30 pounds in just 3 months. I went from on my mom's couch, desperate, no girlfriend, hopeless, to within 3 months I reconciled. I put an intense focus back on my relationship with my ex-girlfriend that had broke up with me, and within 3 months we were married. Not just engaged, we were actually married, with a renewed focus and passion on our relationship. And now we have the most beautiful 9-month-old that I'm pretty sure that ever existed in history of human beings. In a very short amount of time, my life took off. All from this really, really, really simple concept of waking up earlier to give myself some time with a very structured morning process that then allowed me to invest in myself, invest in my family, invest in my business. It gave me that time I needed to get my life back and to where it needed to be. And so that I call it going from zero to morning hero. And that's essentially how the morning hero was born. Is I found that when I focused on my mornings, that's I say how you win the morning, you win the day. And when I focused on my morning, winning that morning, it turned me into a superhero. Every morning I would wake up early and it would turn me into a superhero. I would put on my cape and I would get my superpowers in the morning. So I call myself the morning hero. And only within 3 months, I went through a complete transformation in my business, my family, my health, every area of my life. And so now I just want to scream on the mountaintop, these secrets that everyone else can embody if they just understood these three things. And this is what the definition of a morning hero is. Morning hero is someone who wakes up early. They have a structured morning routine and they're consistent. They do it every damn day. They consistently hit their goals. They're just disciplined and consistent. And that's what I turned into. And so that kind of brings me to what I want to share with you today. Today, what I want you to get out of this is those three things. I want to show you 3 tools that's going to help you accomplish those 3 things. One, I'm going to show you a tool that's going to help you wake up early so you have more time. I heard a couple of you talk about there's just not enough time. Waking up early is the best way to give yourself more time. So I want to show you a tool that's going to help you wake up early so you have more time in your day to get more done. 2, I want to show you the morning routine to get focused and organized. This is the same morning routine that I pulled from reading the autobiographies of all the high producers. I kind of put pieces together of what they were doing and structured a morning routine that that'll get you focused and organized and could double your productivity. And the last thing I want to show you today is a tool that's going to help you do a goal tracking system that's going to help increase your follow through and your urgency for the high impact activities, not the little stuff, but the big stuff, so that you can be really consistent. I'm going to show you these 3 things today. And if I show you these 3 things, would that be a good use of your time? If you walked away knowing these 3 things today, would you feel that that was a good use of your time spent here today? Give me a hell yeah in the comments if this is something that gets you fired up. It gets me fired up. But if this gets you fired up too, I want to show you this. Now, I'm going to do my part and I'm going to show you this, and you're going to walk away from this with these 3 things. Here's what you can do for me. The minute you see anything that you know is going to rock for you, go all in, make a commitment. Commit that, yeah, now's the time. I'm going to do it. I'm going to implement. I'm not just going to be a dabbler. There's Tony Robbins always says there are doers and there are dabblers. Which one are you? And I think that's a great way to put it. A lot of people dabble. They like to read, they like to watch, they like to be on the outskirts witnessing. They like to watch the doers. And I like to say, who are you? Are you a doer or a dabbler? And the minute you see something today, I want you to be a doer. Don't just dabble, don't just watch and consume. Actually implement something, one of these concepts that you hear or see today. And I want this to be the best use of your time. So with that being said, I say let's go ahead and rock and roll. We got all the doers on the call, right? Well, all the doers, let's do this. So the first thing let's go back and revisit what the biggest mistake is that overachievers make, and that's waking up early, waking up and diving right into their first obligation. And so this is the cycle. This is the cycle. This is the rut. This is the hamster wheel. This is what I got caught in. This is when kind of my life stalled and plateaued. This was my daily formula. I would wake up, and most of the time I would go right back to sleep. Snooze as long as I could. I had a snooze science. I know the exact formula of how many snoozes I can get in before I had to wake up to rush to take a shower, to run right into work. Oftentimes I'm still in bed and I'm diving right into my email. I got my phone. These devices are great, but boy, they're the death of productivity. Right off the bat, I'm knee deep into my emails, knee deep into social media, knee deep into text messaging. Before my feet even hit the floor, I'm already consumed with stress, anxiety. obligations, worry, responsibilities. Before my feet even hit the floor, I'm already playing catch up. I'm already behind the eight ball before I've even gotten out of bed. And that sometimes is the reason I wouldn't even want to get out of bed. But from that point forward, I've never really had a chance to set my own intentions. So I'm just playing catch up all day. I'm just dragged around all day from fighting fire to fire, exhausting myself to the point I come home, definitely not going to the gym at that point, you know, exhausted, and kind of just plop on the couch to watch Netflix or play on social media, do some mindless activity all the way until I fall asleep, and then wake up the next day and do it all over again. Does that sound familiar? Give me a thumbs up if anyone else has ever been in this cycle or has ever felt like this, this hamster wheel before. But this is the typical cycle. This is where people get stuck. This is where you stall and plateau. This is where years of your life go and your New Year's resolutions keep repeating themselves over and over. It's just spinning in place. How do you break this cycle? How do you get out of this rut? How do you jump off of this hamster wheel? The answer is real simple. You got to wake up earlier. My prescription is you wake up 1 hour before your first obligation of the day. 1 hour earlier. If your first obligation is work, you wake up 1 hour before you need to shower and get ready for work. So 1 hour before you need to start getting ready for work, not 1 hour before work, but 1 hour before you need to start getting ready for work. If your first obligation is getting the kids ready for school, you need to be up 1 hour before that. Whatever your first thing is, if you go into the gym, you got a morning gym class that you're going to, you need to be up 1 hour before that. 1 hour before your first obligation. That 1 hour is for you. You need 1 hour to yourself every morning with no phone, no interruptions, no distractions, for you. And if right now you aren't doing that, that's where you get stuck on the hamster wheel, because you don't have the time to establish your own footing for the day. And so that's the first priority, is to establish a wake up, an earlier wake up time. Now, why? What does that do for you? What does waking up earlier do? Well, one, quite simply, you get more time. It's a simple formula. You get more time in the day. You wake up 2 hours earlier, you just gave yourself an extra 2 hours. All the stuff you say you don't have time for now, you don't have time to squeeze in your workout for the day. You don't have time to do a little bit of your hobby. You don't have time to read. I'm sure you've been trying to read more books. You just don't have enough time. You don't have enough time to do those extra little things for your business. Like, whenever you say you don't have time, the real clear and simple fix: get up a little earlier. Now you have more time. The biggest thing for me is more peace. Nobody's bothering you first thing in the morning. I call it my morning is my sanctuary. There's no interruptions. There's no text messages coming in. There's no emails firing off. There's no notifications. There's a stillness to the morning. There's a peace that gives you that space, that energy to really kind of settle into what the spirit of what you need to get done for the day. Your morning is when you're mentally sharp. If you look at your cortisol levels and your cognitive functioning levels, you're at your peak in the morning. So you're your highest cognitive power. Your cognitive power is just your ability to process thoughts and things clearly. You're your most mental clarity in first thing in the morning. You get a chance to get the day under control before it starts to control you. You ever felt like you've just been dragged around? You're being dragged around all day from thing to thing, and you kind of really don't have your own order to it. You got to kind of get a head start on the day. And so waking up earlier gives you that head start so you can control the day before the day just gets ahead of you. And that's what I was talking about, that giving you that head start. So, I mean, I'm sure you already know why getting up earlier. You can see how waking up earlier could have a drastic benefit in your life. But maybe this is you. Maybe you're like our friend Sad Sally here. Sally's just not a morning person. Sally's like, hey, Jarvis, look, I'm a zombie in the mornings. Anybody else a zombie in the morning? Uh, Give me a thumbs up if this is you. Like, you just not a morning person. You never have been a morning person. Matter of fact, it's just you. I used to despise morning people, and this was me too. I just couldn't stand people that were bright and chipper and giddy first thing in the morning. It was like, like, what's wrong with you? And so um, I never thought this was possible, is for me to be a morning person. I was, some of you say you hate morning people. Yeah, unfortunately now I am one of those people. And so it is, you totally can make the transition. It is totally possible. I used to wake up, I used to go to sleep after midnight every night. I was a night owl. As an engineer, that was our schedule. As an engineering student, you'd be in the library studying all night till 2, 3 in the morning, and then I wouldn't wake up till 10 a.m. That was my natural cycle, my natural rhythm, my natural schedule. And so I never thought I could be a morning person, to flip that, backwards. But I totally made the transition. But it's tough. It is tough. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not easy waking up. I wake up at 4 a.m. right now. And I have to wake up at 4 because, I have a 9-month-old child and he gets up early for feeding. I have to get up to make sure I have a full hour to myself before my wife wakes up, before my son wakes up. I'm investing in my morning so I can have that time. And it is tough to wake up at 4 a.m. So, but let me tell you why it's tough. Like, this book by Benjamin Hardy is entitled Willpower Doesn't Work. One of my all-time favorite books. And in that book, it says, a person's own drive and willpower and motivation will fail them every time. Consistent, lasting behavior change only comes from establishing an environment outside of themselves that holds them accountable. I struggled for basically all my life to wake up early, um, because I was trying to rely on my own motivation, my own willpower, to will myself to get up, to will myself to do it. If there is nothing else, and the reason most people, they wait all the way up until their first obligation, because that first obligation is the thing that holds them accountable to waking up. But if it's just on their own, they won't get up before that. And so this concept of, you need something outside of you to force you to live up to a standard. You need some sort of accountability. This is a powerful, powerful, powerful concept. So I started thinking, okay, what can I put in place to help me wake up earlier? And then I started understanding this principle of an accountability. Accountability is the only thing that's going to help you do something that's right now is hard for you. That's where you're struggling with on your own. And so the fix to this problem was an accountability group. I joined an accountability group, and it was a group of, I had 2 other friends that were trying to wake up early too. And, we all were in the same battle. So we decided, hey, what if we all got up early in the morning and called each other? We got on a group call together, and that would force us to wake up. Essentially, this is this outside structure that's going to hold me accountable, because I know that my own willpower, my own uh, uh, motivation will fail me. I need some sort of outside accountability structure that's going to force me to do this. And so we started getting up early. We called it the Rise and Grind Mastermind, and we get on the Zoom call every morning, and at 5 a.m. And that was the thing that helped me consistently build this habit of waking up early. Now I had a group of people that I had to answer to first thing in the morning. That is what got me out of bed every day. And then we got on this call, and there was just great energy and great vibes. And it was basically the best way to build my morning with momentum. And so basically the way it worked, and we started calling it the Morning Hero Accountability Group. But every morning we get on a 30-minute call. And on that call, we would just establish what are our high impact activities. and we would declare it to each other. And that was really the simple principle of the call. And it'd be 30 minutes, and that was the key ingredient to helping me establish this whole concept of waking up early. For quite frankly and quite simply, just know that it's going to be tough for you to do this on your own. You have to find some sort of accountability outside of yourself that's going to help you build this habit. So, does this work? So I'm gonna share a quick story with you. One of the people that joined the call was a doctor. Her name's Dr. Alicia, and she also wanted to wake up early. She had been struggling to. She has this business, She's a naturopathic doctor, but she's always wanted to spread her voice online by putting out courses and materials and things like that that people could sign up for. But she just never had time to do it. And so she joined the morning accountability group so she could try to wake up earlier to have extra time to work on this side project that she was trying to work on. And so this is a email that Dr. Alicia sent me shortly after she joined one of our accountability groups. She said, Jarvis, hey, here's a link to my new course. Thank you so much for encouraging me to finish this project. Waking up at 4:30 a.m. every day gave me the extra time I needed to work on it, and having the accountability group made all the difference. I've been wanting to do this for years, and it feels good to finally have it done. Check out the link and let me know your thoughts. This was a project, a passion project of hers that now has come to life, all because she had extra time in her day, because she decided to invest in waking up early. This stuff works. Then actually here's a picture of her page. This is the course that she put out, and now she's blessing the world. She's helping women who suffer from problems with menopause. And so now she's fulfilling her purpose, which is helping serve women in need that have this problem. So this stuff works. This stuff actually works. Waking up early definitely works. It gives you extra time in your day to do all the things you need to do. Now, here's a couple undeniable truths. It absolutely does work, but it is absolutely hard. Waking up early is super hard to do consistently on your own. An accountability group is the best tool that you can use to help you build this as a consistent habit. It was the magic sauce for me. It was the missing ingredient for me. It was the only thing that helped me build a consistent habit of waking up early, was having an outside accountability group that I called into, and we all held each other accountable to getting up. So this is your first tool for success, is understanding the power of an accountability group. Now, what do you do when you wake up early? It's not just about waking up early, but you actually have to, use that time wisely. So I want to go back and revisit the first mistake that overachievers make. Who remembers? Do you remember what's the first mistake or the biggest mistake that overachievers make? Can anyone guess what it is? What is the number one mistake that overachievers, that high achievers, that goal-oriented people make? The number one reason people get stuck is that they wake up early, Mike got it, and dive right into their first obligation of the day. That's where you get stuck. You don't give yourself that time to strategize, to set your intention. You don't have enough time. You're just waking up going, and next thing you know, you're in this cycle. So how do you break that hamster wheel? Well, one, you wake up earlier, and two, you fill that extra time with intention, with a process. And I'm going to show you exactly what that process is. Now, one of my favorite quotes that I tell people is, in order to speed up, you first have to slow down. Now, this is kind of backwards. You think you want to speed up, you want to go faster, you want to get more done, you want to accomplish more, you need to get up growing. It's the exact opposite. You want to get more done, the first thing you do is slow down. And I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process of how to slow down every morning. And I call it the perfect morning routine. And this is going to be the second tool for success. And it's all centered around a planning process of how do you plan your day to get organized, a step-by-step process that you go through to systematically organize your activities you have to get done for the day, prioritize them, get them scheduled and ranked, and then make you more effective and efficient with your time. You're not just going to wake up and be effective. You actually have to go through a planning process to make sure that your time is best utilized. So I want to walk you through a specific routine, and it's based around this daily action planner. So when I spent 2,000 hours studying the behaviors, the habits, the techniques, the processes of high achievers, every from Oprah to Michael Jordan to Warren Buffett. And as I'm reading all their autobiographies, I noticed there were some common threads that they all did first thing in the morning, how they started their day. They some very common elements. And I boiled those down into a 5-step process. I took all the pieces that I learned from all of them, and I just created this simple 5-step process. I kind of engineered this process based off of everything that I read from the most successful people in the world. And over the years, I've been refining it. So I've had over 100 people use this process. And based on the data, it on average, they see an increase in productivity of over double. They double their productivity all from using a step-by-step process to get organized first before they just dive out and start working. And so I'm going to walk you through this process right now, and it's based off of this action planner. So here's a kind of a screenshot of what the planner looks like. Now, the first you'll notice on the left side is blank, and that's intentional. And that is for room for the first step, which is meditation. And does anyone meditate right now? Give me a yes in the comments if anyone meditates right now. Now, I know I always get, there's several different camps of, meditation. You get the very spiritual aspect of meditation, and that's probably what most people think of when they think of meditation. You think of people out in the forest, or sitting by a waterfall with your, legs crossed, like summoning the spirits, channeling their energy. And to be honest, that is one of the great benefits of meditation. It centers you, it grounds you, it calms your emotions, it makes you less reactive. Those are tons of great benefits of meditation. But this that I'm going to talk to you about it's more specific. It's more of a specific purpose. It's more practical. It's more for your goals. And I call it clearing the cache. So me being a computer engineer, I speak in terms of computer jargon. So forgive me if this goes over your head. But when you think about a computer, when it runs its memory, when it's running a program, the memory that it uses is called the cache, the local memory that the processor uses. They call that the cache. And in order for the processor to run a new program, the first thing it does is it has to clear out the old memory from the old program to make room for the new memory for the new program. So it can load up the new program, and then it can run that program more efficiently and effectively and run it faster. Now, what sometimes happens is the processor doesn't clear the old memory, and it tries to load the new program on top of the old program. And what happens is you get the wheel of death. That's where the program stalls. That's where your computer needs to be rebooted. It didn't clear the cache first. It tried to load the new on top of the old, and it stalled. Now, our brains work the same way. Every day we're processing data. Every day we're processing new information, new thoughts, new ideas, new problems. And what happens is every day we're layering on top. We're layering on top. And it gets to a point where we just can't layer anymore. And that's anxiety. That's the pressure. That's anxiety. That's stress. That's where we get that overwhelming feeling from. Sometimes you just feel heavy. Like you just don't want to get out of bed. Like you just feel too heavy. That heaviness is all the responsibilities, all the stress. That's everything your brain is trying to process. And it can't do it all. It can't process all of it. So every morning, I kind of walk you through a process of how to clear your cache. And it's really simple. You just sit in front of a blank sheet of paper and you close your eyes for 5 to 10 minutes. And then you let your brain flush out everything. So all the thoughts, all the ideas, everything that's in your brain, you write it out. And so for the first 5 to 10 minutes, you just sit there and you try to fill up this entire sheet of paper with everything that's in your head. And you're clearing the cache. And now once you've cleared it out and you have it written down, your brain doesn't feel like it has to hold on to it anymore. It effectively releases it. And after it releases it, now you're sharper to process the new information. You've cleared out the old, you've captured it on a sheet of paper, so now you don't feel like you're going to forget it. And sometimes it comes out as just a to-do list. Sometimes it comes out as blueprints. It comes out as business ideas. Sometimes I sit in front of my sheet of paper and I start blueprinting and I'll start drawing diagrams of my business and new offerings and things like that. So you'd be surprised at what happens sometimes when you just flush. So every morning you sit and you'll flush. And then in that, what you're doing is you're clearing out and allowing yourself to process for what you're going to process for the remainder of the day. So this first step is a pretty crucial one, is you're just going to fill up this sheet of paper. Now, from there, the next step in the process is step 2 is you're going to go through a reflection. You ask yourself 3 simple questions. What did I do well yesterday? What didn't I do well? And how could I have done it better? Every day when you ask this question of how can I get better? How can I get better? You look in the mirror and you force yourself to be honest and say, okay, yeah, yesterday I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have slept in yesterday. How can I do better today? Well, I'll do this. Yesterday I shouldn't have had that double cheeseburger for lunch. Okay, how can I do better today? Well, today I'm going to order a salad. Yesterday I didn't make all my prospecting calls. How can I do better today? Okay, today I'm gonna make sure I do them first thing in the morning instead of trying to push it to the afternoon. Every day when you ask yourself these questions, every day you'll get better and better and better. This one I pulled from Warren Buffett. But every day you want to look in the mirror and say, where am I falling? Where am I not living up to my own standard? And how can I get better than that? So you'll go through a quick reflection. And then from there, this is where you start planning your day. So you'll go through, you'll write your top 3 goals. And I encourage you to structure your goals in 3 categories: professional, personal, and health and fitness. And so for each one of your goals, you'll simply write out the goal and then start coming up with the action plan that you got to get done for that day to help that goal, to help you hit that goal. So for your professional goal, all right, what are the top things you got to get done that day? Your personal goal, because it's not always just about work. And a lot of times people just focus on work, and that's where they start letting these other areas of their life slide because they aren't intentional about it. And so this planner forces you to be intentional about your personal life. What are you going to do today to push forward your passion project? What are you going to do to reach out to your family? How are you going to spend intentional time with your family today? So it forces you to categorize your goals and come up with your action plan for every area of your life. And then the most important step is the 5th step. The final one is your calendar. Because a to-do list, right now, all this is a to-do list. The to-do list is where your intentions go to die. If you want to actually be effective, you have to turn it from a to-do list and you have to schedule everything onto your calendar. There was actually a study done by the University of Pennsylvania where they gave 2 groups of people. The first group, they say, hey, here's a list of everything you have to get done today. Make sure you get it done. The second group of people that said, hey, here's a list of everything you have to do, and here are the times that you have to do them. Essentially, they scheduled everything they had to get done onto a calendar. Not just call your mom today, but call your mom at 9 a.m. They told them the exact time to do it. What they found was the second group was twice as likely to do it. The second group was twice as productive, all because instead of a to-do list, they scheduled everything on their calendar. It's called the zero calendaring method. And so essentially all you're doing is you take everything on your to-do list every action you came up with, and you have to find a dedicated slot on your calendar. I guarantee you, when you start this method right here is the single greatest method that has changed my life. This has more than doubled my productivity. I'm more focused. I'm more organized. My thoughts are more clear. Um, it is by far the best tool to relieve stress, because now I'm not walking around so heavy all day. I know exactly what to do and when I'm going to do it. This essentially becomes your blueprint for the day when you do this process. And so this whole 5-step process is organized out into this action planner. But essentially, you just need a methodical approach. Hit the pause button every morning to have a methodical approach to how you're going to do your day. This whole process should take about 15 minutes. That's it. In just 15 minutes every morning, you can get really hyper-focused and organized. So does it work? I'll tell you a little bit about Nikki. So Nikki, she's got 3 kids. She was kind of stuck in a dead-end job working for a university. And by the way, we're in quarantine. So not only does she have her full-time job, she also now has the full-time job of homeschooling her kids, because kids can't go to school. So the parents have to homeschool them, apparently. So she's stuck in quarantine with a full-time job with 3 kids, and she's looking to level up. She wanted to figure out how to get to the next level in her career. And so Nikki joined and showed her, this concept of waking up early and doing this morning routine every day. And I guarantee it'll help her get to the next level. This is a letter that Nikki sent. So she said, Jarvis, this year I knew I had to make some big changes professionally and find a new job. And it was going to be that was going to advance my career. In conversations with you, we determined that the most important thing I could do was reach out to 3 contacts per week for informational interviews. I'll skip down here to this part right here. Oh, she says, on March 18th, I received an offer for a phenomenal job opportunity, a job that was never posted and that I networked my way into. I have no doubt that the focus and intensity of the Morning Hero routine played a huge role in helping me achieve my biggest goal for 2020 in less than 3 months. It's also helped me with smaller goals. For the past several years, I've set a goal of reading more books. Now, as a part of my morning routine, I read 10 pages a day. I've already finished 3 books this year, more than I finished all of last year. In just 3 months, Nikki went from a university administrator to her new job title as she's the Chief Innovation Officer and Strategy Officer and Chief of Staff for Northwestern University, Kellogg School of Management, which is top 3 business schools in the nation. All from this concept of waking up early with this particular structured morning routine. Nikki got a CIO position in 3 months, all from doing a morning routine every day. That's how powerful this is. Do not underestimate the power of something as simple as a 15-minute process and what it could do for your productivity and your effectiveness every single day. I'll share another with you. Actually, he's on a call right now, Sergio. So Sergio's a loan officer, works from home, taking care of his family, and Sergio sent me a video saying that he can honestly say that in 2 weeks of being on the Morning Hero, he was seeing an extra productivity boost of 2 extra hours per day. 2 extra hours of productivity. And I'm sure, Sergio, was that accurate? You're actually on right now. Is that accurate? You can kind of give everyone your firsthand testimonial. But most people say they see between 2 to 4 hours of increased productivity, all from this process of being able to slow down and go through a step-by-step process to organize their thoughts first, organize their day, organize their actions, and then hit the play button on the day. So this stuff is powerful. This stuff is powerful. So here, a couple of undeniable truths. One, having a structured morning routine will definitely get you more focused and organized so that you can get more stuff done throughout the day. And two, you'll want to have some sort of step-by-step guide that will guide you through the process. And something like the daily action planner is a good one to follow. And maybe I'm a little biased because it's one that I created, but even if you don't use a daily action planner, but you'll want something, some organized, structured system, some sort of process. And I'm holding up one right now. You'll want some physical planner that you sit in front of you every morning that you go through, that organizes your day and calendars it and structures it properly. That's the only and easiest way to do a morning routine, is you have some physical guide that guides you through it. And the daily action planner just happens to be the best one. Unbiased opinion here. But so Sergio just chimed in on the chat. Says, yeah, the morning hero routine gave him an extra 2 hours per day of productivity. What could you do with an extra 2 hours? I use that time for my son. I use that time to spend with my son. Me and my son go to the beach every day around 2:00 in the afternoon. So I'm so effective now with my time that I can be done with work by noon, so that me and him can make it to the beach by 2 o'clock and spend the afternoon on the beach. So how would you spend that extra 2 hours? I'd love to know. So, that's kind of like what you do, how you wake up early, and then that's a tool that's going to get you organized once you get up. Now, what do you do, for, like, let's say you already have your day organized. You know the stuff you need to do, you just don't follow through. Is that anyone? Like, you know what you need to do. Look, I already know what I need to do. I need to eat better. I need to work out. I need to make all my prospecting calls. I need to, spend more quality time with my family. Look, I already know these things. I know what I need to do. My problem is following through. My problem is actually doing them. My problem is being consistent with them. Is that true for anyone? The follow through is where the problem is. I would say about half of the people, the follow through is where they slip up. And so how do you boost your motivation? How do you keep yourself on point? How do you make sure you follow through on your important activities each day? Not the minutia, not the small stuff, but the important stuff. I want to introduce you to the reason why we don't follow through is simple. The reason we don't follow through is for two reasons. One, there's no clear deadline. There's no clear urgency. Yeah, there's no one like over your shoulder saying, hey, you got to do that thing. Most of the time, these are the things that we know we need to do, the things we need to do for ourselves. But if we don't do them, yeah, so what? There's no consequence if we don't do it. Okay, yeah, I want to work out, but okay, so what? I didn't do my workout. There's no real consequence if I don't do it. Yeah, I want to make all my prospecting phone calls for a business, but no one's gonna, there's no direct repercussions if I don't. So I can sit here and play in my email inbox all day, so what? There's no clear deadline and there's no clear consequence. Those are the biggest reasons why people don't follow through. Guaranteed, like if you had a boss over your shoulder, those are things you do follow through. If there's a deadline, you do follow through. But what happens when you don't have those things? Well, you have to manufacture them. You have to find a way to track and measure yourself. And so I always say, this is one of my morning heroisms. What gets tracked, what gets measured and tracked gets improved. This is just a fact of life. The minute you measure and track something, automatically whatever it is starts to improve. The minute you start tracking your meals and your calories, your weight improves. The minute you start tracking, if you're making your phone calls every day, it gets improved. What you track and measure, you bring an awareness to. and it automatically improves. This is just a fact of life. So I took this concept and created the third tool. This third tool, which is a goal tracking system. It's a tracking tool where you track the 3 biggest things that's important to you. Your professional life. What's the key ingredient that's going to help you grow your business, grow your income? Your health. What's the biggest, highest impact thing you could do for your health? Your personal life. Whatever your personal ambition is, whether it's start a side hustle, it's to, work on your family relationship, whatever your personal side goal is, like, what's the main thing you need to do every day to see success in that area of your life? The top 3 areas of your life, we track them. And I built a tool that helps you bring an awareness to these things, and you'll automatically start improving in those areas. So this is how it works. Every day you identify 3 areas, 3 high impact activities, and they're based on these 3 areas: professional, personal, health, and fitness. And you track them. You say, quite simply, did you get it done that day or not? And over time, you start to visually see your progress. You start to visually see your trends. If you're doing well, if you're not doing well, and you get a score. And add another layer of accountability to it, you get ranked amongst the other people, other high achievers that's in your group. And that's where your motivation comes from. Now, all of a sudden, you have a deep sense of urgency. Now it isn't just, oh, well, I didn't make my phone calls. But no, now you have to own up to that in front of other people and see it on a scoreboard. Now everyone's watching you. The minute you start tracking this and you have other people that's tracking it with you, guaranteed, now you have a deeper sense of urgency to complete those tasks, to complete those activities. This is the way to take yourself to the next level. Track the things that matter most, and then be accountable to it with other people, especially if you have a tool like this that visually shows you and kind of gamifies it for you, if you will. Guaranteed, all of a sudden now you start making all your calls every day. Guaranteed you start doing your workouts every day. Guaranteed you start doing, spending the quality time you need. You start reading that book you've been trying to read. You start writing more. Like, everything that you think is important, the minute you start tracking it, you improve it. And this is the best way to do it, is when you link up with other people and you track together. You encourage each other. You motivate each other. This is where the next level comes from, is when you link up with other next level type people and track together. So, this tool that I'm showing you, it almost guarantees people's success. I think I read a study that people only do about 40% of the things they say they're going to do. Meaning, if you have 10 things on your list throughout the day, you'll probably only do 4 of them, and that's about average. Now, the minute we started tracking and adding this another layer of kind of gamification, people average between 85 to 100% completion rate. You imagine that they more than double their completion rate, all from tracking. The minute you start tracking the things that's important to you, it almost guarantees you'll be successful. Almost guarantees. How powerful is that? Now, I want to share a quick story with you. Rick just started in commercial real estate, and for 5 months, Rick went without getting a client. He wasn't consistently making his phone calls. He wasn't doing the activities necessary to build his business, and he was struggling. And so he joined, and he got on with this tracking tool, and he joined the Morning Hero. And Rick sent me this message. He said, "Jarvis, I did not join Morning Hero to lose weight, but I've lost 10 pounds. I did not join Morning Hero to sleep, but I'm sleeping better than I ever have. I didn't join Morning Hero to have a better relationship with my wife, but I do. I didn't join Morning Hero to spend more time with my new baby, but I am. I didn't join Morning Hero to reduce my stress and anxiety, but it's gone. I joined Morning Hero to increase my income. And so far, it's paid back fivefold. The minute you start waking up earlier with a structured process and have a tool to start tracking your progress, it almost guarantees every area of your life gets in flow. These tools are powerful. I would say Rick is going through a complete transformation. Would this work for you though? If you had an accountability group that could help you wake up earlier so you can have more time, you think that'll work for you? Give me a yes in the comments if you think that'll work for you. Maybe if you had an action planner where you had this step-by-step guide to help get you focused, help get you organized, to help get you more productive with that work. Maybe if you had a tracking tool, some sort of system that would increase your ability to follow through on the stuff you already know you need to do. It's not rocket science. You know what you need to do. But maybe you just need help following through. Would a tracking tool help you? If you had all three of these, would it help you get to the next level? Really simple question. I can almost guarantee that it will. Now, if I could show you this, and I can take a minute, would you be okay if I share with you a little bit about the Morning Hero program and how I incorporate all three of these tools into a really combined approach to helping take people to the next level? If it's okay with you, I'd like to take a few minutes to just introduce you to what is the Morning Hero program and basically how it uses these three things and how it can apply to you. The first thing it is the accountability group. You want to wake up earlier. It's tough to do it on your own. You need a group of folks that's going to hold you accountable to being up early. Like that's where some sort of outside accountability structure is the only way that you can really build it as a consistent habit, so that you're waking up even on days you don't want to get out of bed. You're still doing it. You're still motivated to do it because you're joining another group of high achievers that's doing it with you. So you get the first part is the morning accountability group. Second part is the daily action planner. It's this simple tool that's going to double your productivity. This one little tool right here will double your productivity. And so it comes with the daily action planner, and you get access to the goal tracking system. So on the morning accountability call, the 30-minute Zoom call, you'll actually review your progress. You'll identify your top 3 focus areas for the day, and you track those areas and make sure you're making progress and that you're actually hitting your goals every day. Not just sometimes, but you're consistently hitting your goals every day. And so those are the 3 major components to the program. So, I showed you that it almost guarantees people's success. What is it that you're looking to do this year? You trying to get that 6-pack? Who's trying to get a 6-pack? Put 6-pack in the chat if you're trying to get a 6-pack. I know I'm trying to get a 6-pack. But what's the big thing you're trying to work on? Maybe you're trying to grow your business or even grow a side business. You're trying to get some additional income, or you're trying to make sure you just stabilize what you've got right now with COVID and the pandemic and everything. Everything is so uncertain all around us. The only certainty there is in you, in your ability to invest in yourself to make sure that you're going to get through this and level up out of this. There are people that are leveling up through this. And you're going to be one of those people that's going to level up through this. What are you working on this year? What is it that you want to attack? And I'll share a couple of other stories of what other people have gotten from this program. Eno was a corporate tax accountant. He was in his corporate job for years, but he's always had this side passion to be a sommelier, to do wine. He loves wine. He hated his job, and he always wanted to start a wine business on the side. And he joined the Morning Hero so he could put an intense focus and have more time to work on his side hustle. I'm proud to say 3 months after for him, it was about 5 months after he joined the Morning Hero, he officially quit his job and now is a full-time wine consultant where he does event tours down to wine country. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see the difference in his face. If you look how if you see the look of passion versus the corporate accountant versus the wine event planner you can see the difference. This is what said. So Jarvis, I just wanted to send you a quick thank you. Since joining Morning Hero 3 months ago, I've done more in sales in my wine tour business than I did all last year. It's definitely because of this group. Thanks so much for putting this together. It's been an essential part to my day. Zariah is a real estate agent who's having trouble, doing her day-to-day. When in real estate, being self-employed, there's so much you could do all day long that it's easy to get sucked into doing the minutia, doing the emails and doing the admin work and doing the paperwork. It's easy to do that stuff, and it takes you away from doing the business development stuff. Talking to your referral partners, making cold calls, putting together email, newsletters and campaigns. So she wasn't doing the important stuff. She was doing all the little stuff. And so she joined because she wanted to be held accountable to doing her big actions every day, which was making her phone calls. Zariah said, Jarvis, I just want to thank you so much. When I first started with you, I was in a dry spell. I hadn't had a new client in months. After joining Morning Hero and being held to my daily action plan, I picked up 5 listings within 3 months. I'm happy to report that I doubled my income from last year. So this was in 2019. So Zariah's been on Morning Hero for over a year now. 2019, she doubled her income, all because of being held accountable to waking up early with the structured routine and being organized enough to do her high impact actions every day. Nicole owns 3 businesses. She's a corporate tax accounting firm, financial planning, and a nonprofit that serves underprivileged women. And her biggest thing was she was so focused on her businesses that her health started slipping. She never put a focus on herself. Everything else came before her. And so she sent me a note saying that, Jarvis, I'm down 27 pounds and the business is currently up 25%, even during tax season. I've been able to keep my discipline strong. Morning Hero is the secret. For her, she needed to focus on herself, and having this process of waking up earlier with this routine gave her extra time to continue to focus on her health and going to the gym every morning, even in the middle of tax season, which for her is typically a 12 to 15 hour workday. She's still been able to lose weight. So these are some incredible stories of what people have been able to do, all from this simple concept: waking up early with a structured routine and being on and tracking it every day. So, I saw somewhere that people spend an average of $2,000 a year on coffee. Now, that kind of shocked me until I went and looked at my expenses. I don't know if you've ever done this. Maybe it might be too scary, but I use Mint.com to organize my finances. And you go in and you type in Mint, and it'll pull up. Type in coffee or Starbucks, and it'll bring up basically give you a full report on how much you've spent. And I gotta say, we are somewhere around this mark, $2,000 on coffee. And I was thinking, wow, you spend that much on coffee. What's worth, if I was to say, if I can almost guarantee that you'll hit your goal this year, if I can almost guarantee that you'll hit your income goal, if I can almost guarantee you'll hit your personal goal, you'll be closer to your family, you have more time to invest in your family and friends. If I can almost guarantee that, I can't guarantee, but almost guarantee you get close to that 6-pack, or you have it, would that be worth at least what you spend on coffee every day? Give me a yes in the comments if you think that's worth what you spend on coffee, to say, I can almost guarantee you'll get there. that you have everything that you're striving for this year for the price that you already pay for coffee a day. And you know what? That's, I hope your goals are worth more than my goals are worth way more than what I spend on coffee. Like, I got some big ambition, and I hope you do too. To be a part of to be a morning hero, to be a part of this, it's not even what you pay for your coffee. It's $2.95 a month. $2.95 a month, and that comes with a 3-month minimum commitment. 3 months, and again, I can almost guarantee you'll get to where you're trying to get to. Now, if that sounds like something that you can vibe with, there's a link at the bottom of the screen where you'll go and to sign up. It's at themorninghero.com/goals. Now, what else do you spend money on? I went into my Amazon account, and just to see all the randomness, this is an actual purchase, one of my most recent purchases from Amazon. I spend all kinds of crap money on stuff that I'm not necessarily proud of. Any Croc fans out there? Me and my wife are big Croc people, but I just kind of waste money all year long. Now, what's more valuable, like stuff like this, or for $10 a day to invest in your dream, your passion, your income, your health? What can you do in 3 months? A couple of people have done some pretty extraordinary things. Crystal's on The Morning Hero. She's always wanted to write a book. Within 3 months, she had her full first draft of her book written, and within 5 months, she had it published, and it's now on Amazon. She's always had a side dream of writing a book, and by waking up early with a routine, she not only has the book written, but it's actually published. Alicia, the doctor that I mentioned earlier, always wanted to bless the world with to help women who suffer from a specific condition with menopause. Within 3 months, she had her course done, and now she has hundreds of women that are signed up that are learning and gaining knowledge from this thing that she was able to bless the world with. Soraya went from having no deals in her pipeline to having 5 listings in 3 months. Went from a dead-end corporate job, tax consulting job, to quitting his job and going into his passion, which was wine tour consulting. Nicole, stuck at home, homeschooling 3 kids while in quarantine, in an admin position at a university that she didn't like. Within 3 months, now she's the CIO of one of the most prestigious schools in the nation. This stuff works. This stuff works. I want to know what you can do. What could you do in only 3 months? Build up your business, get in the best shape of your life, rebuild, repair, and restore and reinvest in your relationships and your connections. What could you do? I want to invite you to be a part of the Morning Hero movement. There's a link at the bottom. It's the www.themorninghero.com to sign up. And I'll tell you a little bit about what you're going to get. So you're going to get the morning mastermind. You're going to get the daily action planner, and you're going to get the goal tracking tool. When you sign up today, though, I'm going to throw a couple of extra things in. Today, I'm going to also throw in a 2-hour vision clarity session where we sit down one-on-one and we go through each of your goals and we map them out. We put together a clear blueprint for your vision with timetables and a clear schedule of how you're going to get there. A lot of times people just lack the clarity. They know they want to get to an end destination, but they don't know how to get there. I'll sit down and blueprint your goals with you in a 2-hour vision clarity session. I'm also going to throw in daily coaching. Every day you'll have access to me. You'll have access to an online system where you give daily coaching lessons to make sure you level yourself up. And I'm also going to let you try it at no cost. There's no financial cost for you to try this. I don't want your finances to get in the way of what could be the best thing that ever happened to you. So I'm going to let you try for 14 days right now for free. No cost at all for what could be the next level for you. And then all of this for only $2.95 a month. Now I'll show you exactly what you're going to do. You're going to go to themorninghero.com/goals, and you'll see, once you go in and type in themorninghero.com/goals, it'll take you to this page, and there's a link where you can sign up. There's also a quick description of everything we've just talked about. You're going to click that link. It's going to take you to a checkout page. And on that checkout page, it'll show you exactly what I just said. You type in your information, and then right now, you'll see it says due now, $0. You hit the complete button, and you'll get a 14-day trial, where within that 14 days, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to schedule our one-on-one vision clarity session, and we'll get clear and come up with your success path, come up with your success blueprint of how to hit all your major goals for the year. Then you're going to join a morning accountability group. It's either at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., or 7 a.m. And we'll determine what time you want, what time is going to be the best fit for you. And then from that point forward, and then you're going to get your daily action planner in the mail, probably in about 5 to 6 days in the mail. And then you'll join the group. And then from that point forward, every day, you're just going to crush your goals every damn day. It's that simple. So again, you're going to go to themorninghero.com/goals. You're going to click the link, and it'll take you to this checkout form. You'll fill this out, and again, $0 cost today. You're going to go through the first 14 days, and then after that, by the 14th day, you'll know hands down that this will be the best decision for you. And if it isn't, you walk away and you'll never get charged a dime. And on top of that, even if you do go forward, you can always get your money back. At any point you see that it's not what you thought it was, I'm not going to hold on to your money. You can always have your money back. So with that being said, there's no time to do it but now. With COVID, with the uncertainty, with the pandemic, there's reports saying that we're going to be in some sort of pandemic warning or kind of constrained conditions for years to come. Years to come, we can be in these uncertain times. That's the time you invest in yourself. That's the time you put systems and processes in place that's going to ensure that you come out of this on top, that you bring your family out of this on top. And the Morning Hero, by far, is going to be the best way for you to do that. And with that being said, I want to welcome you into what could be the best decision you ever made. I look forward to seeing you inside the program. Go over to themorninghero.com/goals, sign up, and once that happens, I'll get an automated message and I'll reach out to you personally to welcome you to the tribe. With that being said, thank you so much, everyone. If you have any other questions, you can send it to jarvis@themorninghero.com. Send me any questions you have, and I'll address them, and we'll get you rocking. With that being said, go off and crush this day. Have an awesome, awesome day. Make the most of this day. Be awesome. I'll see you inside the program, everyone. Cheers.